Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning and welcome to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. Yo, I'm here and I'm grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. Just please know we made it. We made it through the Christmas holiday season. Let's pause for the cause and give God a round of applause because you survived. You survived Christmas. I know it may have been rough and tough and you had to navigate through it, but you made it, you survived. And so now we are daring prepared to enter into a new year, and we are grateful and thankful for that. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us on today to our Good Morning Grief Devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. That grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. And I'm so glad that you're here with us on today as we lead you in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. Today is day 361. Let's have a little fun. We're going to talk about I invite peace into my soul. I invite peace into my soul. Let's talk about it. In grief, peace comes with fully accepting and surrendering to the reality of what happened. In grief, peace comes with fully accepting and surrendering to the reality of what happened. Have you fully accepted and surrendered to the reality of what happened? The loss, the change, the transition that you've gone through, have you fully accepted and surrendered to the reality of what happened? Have you fully accepted it? Have you fully surrendered to the reality of what happened? Or are you still wrestling? Are you still wrestling with what happened? Are you still wrestling with what has taken place? Have you fully accepted and surrendered to the loss, the change, the transition that has taken place? Or are you still wrestling? This is a very important question to ask because peace and grief comes from when we fully accept and surrender to what has happened, right? And whether you call it somebody still being in denial or just somebody not accepting it, I'm not accepting that. I'm not somebody not surrendering to it. When you continue to wrestle in that particular sense, then you won't be able to get to a place of peace. That is the catalyst. That is the launching pad. That is the starting point. In order for you to get there, you got to fully accept what happened. You got to surrender to it, right? And y'all remember, grief is loss, change, and transition. So this is death. This is anything. This is a breakup. This is a company that lets you go who no longer wants you. This is fully accepting and surrendering to what we had in mind that's not going to take place, right? There are some things we grieve because we had this in mind, but this is not going to happen or this is not going to take place. And so we wrestle with that. We continue to wrestle. We continue to wrestle. And until we get to a place and space where we can fully accept and surrender to it, right, then you may be at a place where you won't experience peace. It takes time, an active mourning, to reconcile myself to this reality and for peace to begin to replace the normal disbelief, protest, and yearning. It takes time and active mourning. Perhaps it's not something that comes in an instant. That's why you have to actively mourn. It doesn't just take time, but it takes actively mourning because you cannot actively mourn, which means you can suppress and not express and allow time to go past, and you'll find yourself hindered and halted and stuck. You'll find yourself stuck because you're not actively mourning. But when you actively mourn, right, throughout a period of time, then you get to a place where you can accept and surrender to the reality of what happened. You can accept and surrender to the reality of what happened and what took place. As I move towards surrender, I can, with intention, invite peace into my soul. The number one thing you want peace. That's why I always pray, God, give them strength in the midst of their struggle. Give them peace In the midst of their pain, you want peace. And I know it may seem unattainable. I know it may seem out of reach. I know you may say, I'll never have peace. The reality is you can when you fully accept and surrender to what happens. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying that if you start out on the journey, you can get to that place. You can get to that place. I want you to think back in your past to loss, change, and transition that you may have experienced, and not death. Well, even death, even death. I was gonna say something like a breakup or a job letting you go or something. Do you remember being in disbelief? Do you remember not accepting that? Do you remember just arguing like, what the song say? I was your lover and your secretary, working every day of the week. Was at the job when no one else was there, helping you get on your feet. 11 years out of my life. Y'all remember Waiting to Excel? All of this that I gave and time, and all of this that I poured into your company, and all this, and then you just go up and leave me for somebody else, right? When you start talking about the losses that you experienced in your life, you can remember whether it was a breakup, whether it was a company letting you go, whether it was a friendship, that you was disturbed initially. Watch this. You was disturbed initially, but you found peace eventually, right? I'm pretty sure that whoever you dated in high school that you broke up with, you was disturbed at the time. But now fast forward 20, 30, 40 years. Does that still bother you? Does it still bother you today the way it bothered you then? Or have you found peace, right? Does it still bother you today the way it bothered you then? Or have you fully accepted and surrendered to the reality of what happened? Maybe it was a job that let you go, that disturbed you, and you wrestled with it. And it was bad back then. But have you found peace? Have you fully accepted and surrendered, right? That this is the reality of what happened? I'm trying to get you to look back in your past to see loss, change, and transition that you went through that disturbed you initially, but it helped you to find peace eventually. That at some point in time you surrendered to the reality, and accepted and surrendered to the reality of what happened. You grieved it, you mourned it, you begin to move forward, and you found peace, right? Y'all, even when it comes to the death of loved ones. My sister died 25 years ago, 25 years ago. My father died 13 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I can say after 25 and 13 years, my best friend died 2017, right? So that was for 7 years ago. I can truly say after 25 years and after 13 years and after 7 years, y'all, I can truly say that I have fully accepted and surrendered to the reality of what happened. I have accepted and surrendered to the reality of what happened. And because I've actively mourned and navigated through this process, that I've invited peace into my soul. What did the song say? It is well with my soul. When peace like a river attendeth my way, and sorrows like sea billows roll. I ain't got no voice. Whatever my lot has taught me to say, it is well with my soul. Right now, it might not be well. It might be fresh. It might be a fresh one. Enough time and active mourning may have not taken place within the gap of where you are now. It may have been fresh. It may have been this year. It may have been last year. It may have been 3, 4, 5 years ago. It may be at a point where you didn't know nothing about grief or mourning, and you didn't actively mourn. And even though time has passed, you still stuck because you didn't actively mourn. But what I'm telling you is when you actively mourn, you can invite peace to your soul and get to the place where you accept and surrender to the reality of what happened. I'm not saying it might be a situation that what happened may have still not been right. I'm not saying say that it was right what happened. No, it may not have been right. It wasn't right that they took their life. It wasn't right that you may have felt that they died premature. Nah, what happened may have not. But you get to a place where you accept and surrender the reality of what happened. And you get there through active mourning and through time. And when you do that, you can invite peace into your soul. I can sit in stillness, especially in the healing environment of nature, and inhale peace while exhaling resistance. Y'all see that? I can inhale peace while exhaling resistance. I can inhale peace while exhaling resistance. I'm giving you this is for your toolkit. I'm giving you tools, tips, techniques, and takeaways. Something that you can do when this video ends. You can get to a place, especially in nature, you can get to a place where you can inhale peace and exhale resistance, because there's resistance, because you're wrestling. There's resistance, you're wrestling. There's resistance and you're wrestling. Whenever I feel myself resisting, I can stop to notice the tightness of resistance and welcome the expansiveness and comfort of peace instead. Whenever you feel this resistance, y'all, you can stop. You can take notice of the tightness of the resistance, and you can welcome the expansiveness of peace instead. Here's the final thought I want to leave you with. As I grieve and mourn, I consciously invite peace into my life. As I grieve and as I mourn, I consciously invite peace into my life. I want to tell you, as you continue to grieve and as you continue to mourn, you can consciously invite peace into your life. Inhale peace, exhale resistance. Today, my brothers and sisters, is day 361. I told you we was going to have a little fun. I invite peace into my soul. My sincere prayer, hope, and desire is that you will invite peace into your soul as you continue to navigate through this grief journey, as you continue to move forward in all that God has for you, designs for you, established for you, that you can do this. Hey, Lalicia, she says, I'm still wrestling. Yes, ma'am. And it is my sincere prayer and desire that you get to a place, Lalicia, where you continue to actively mourn, right? Fully accept and surrender to the reality of what happened and invite that peace into your soul. It's definitely a process that we navigate through, right? Glory, this is what I've been going through. I'm ready for peace. Amen. I'm ready for peace. Good morning and praise God. Hey, Audra McGill, thank you for joining us. Michael Ford, Leslie Clark, I am fully extended on what has happened. Evelyn Vons, thank y'all for joining us on today. I was crying yesterday. Crying on yesterday is good. That's good. Mourning is how you reveal on the outside, right? And so we don't suppress, we express. We don't suppress, we express. Release brings about relief. Thank you for the takeaway. Thank you, Denise, for tuning in. Release brings about relief. This is my sincere prayer, hope, and desire for each and every one of y'all. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all with the love of the Lord. Looking forward to closing out this 2024 and ushering in 2025. And so praying for y'all as we enter into a new year. I know Christmas is over, but the holiday season is still here. And so just going to continue to meaningfully mourn and navigate through this. And yeah, we're going to keep on keeping on. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's go.